I'm Vonya Womack with Refugees Unknown Stories Untold, and today we're going to be talking with Hafza Girdap, who is a human rights activist, actually a very well-known human rights activist, and she is also co-director for an organization called Set Them Free. So I'm so happy to be able to talk to you, Hafza, today, and I know that you are very, very busy. I mean, not only are you an activist working with 2 different organizations, I believe, but you're also in a PhD program where you're studying. So I want to hear a little bit more about that too. So how about you start off and tell us a little bit about yourself. Let me know what you're doing now in that PhD program and kind of what you're doing with Set Them Free. And then what we'll do is we'll move into how you yourself came here to the United States.
First of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad to be with you. I'm Hafza Girdap, as just you mentioned. I am working for AST, Advocacy of Silence Turkey, as the executive director and the spokesperson. It's a human rights organization, an NGO, whose main focus is the human rights violations taking place in Turkey. And this organization established just after the coup attempt. And also I am the co-founder of Set Them Free. It's a women's rights platform. And I am working with amazing women in that platform for the women's rights, women's status. And we are trying to, broaden our scope right now. Of course, the main focus is again the women in Turkey or the gender-based rights in Turkey, but we have been collaborating with other women's organizations so that we can, broaden our scope in terms of, reaching out to more women, more defending rights of gender-based rights. And additionally, I am working at Stony Brook University as an assistant professor. Not the assistant professor, it's teaching assistant. I'm doing my PhD at Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies. Again, as you see, I am very engaged with women's issues.
You are very, very involved in that, which is so great. It's so great what you do. So tell us a little bit about how you came to be doing all this activist work, because I know that was not originally your plan or originally what you were doing. So how'd that come to be?
So let me start with how I came to the United States and how I ended up with all of this. I was a teacher back in Turkey, and the school that I was working for was, having mostly girls students. So I was interested in or compassionate about the girls' education or their access to, all kinds of rights, all kinds of opportunities, both in Turkey and, abroad. So we were doing lots of international programs. Actually, yes, I'd rather not call myself back, the former me back in Turkey as an activist, but I was doing my best again to, empower the girls and women around me. And every year we were taking our students to United Kingdom or the United States for summer vacations, not just for only language courses, but also, engaging with different cultures and people. And just on the coup day, in the morning of the coup day, we left Turkey for a summer vacation, a language course, which would happen in Orlando, Florida. And we were on the plane when the coup happened. And then, we had to go on with the programs because the students, spent a lot of money for the program, and it took 15 days. So while the program was going on, I was also, following the news back in Turkey. My family was back there. So we realized that since I was very outspoken there, I was in the administration board in the school. We understood that it wouldn't be, possible to survive there freely, securely. So I didn't go back. My family, thankfully, fortunately, they could come here. We united here. And then we started a new life here along with lots of other immigrants, newcomers. And so I don't know how to express this, but I couldn't feel okay. Okay, I was free, I was safe, but it was not enough for me. I don't know how to express this, but then I met some Jewish friends, and then I learned that it's actually, it has a term, a phrase to express this kind of, feeling, survival guilt. the Jewish people who fled Holocaust in Germany, in Europe, came to the United States, and until the end of their lives, they felt that way. So not to feel that way, or to decrease that kind of feeling, you need to do something for the people who don't have voice. You need to be a voice for them. You need to, defend their rights where they couldn't do that. So I tried to attend lots of, events which were held to help people in Turkey to tell their stories, or to ask for action on their behalf. And then I met some people who just established AST, and then they asked me, because my English was okay, and I had rather grown-up kids, so I was okay. My time-wise or other opportunity-wise, I was okay. And I said, yes, of course, I want to work with you. I want to work for you, for these people. And in 2017, I started there, then set them free again. So we are doing lots of conferences, panels, or awareness raising events, street protests, lots of activism work to raise awareness about the people in Turkey, and also to take action in different platforms.
Yeah, that's so wonderful that you do that. So let's talk about some of the things that you're bringing awareness to. I kind of like to talk about currently. Because we've got kind of have two different audiences here. We've got, people that are Turkish like yourself that have been through a lot of this or are very familiar with it. And then another side, which is people that may not even, know what has happened, with that 2016 coup and with the purge and with people being imprisoned, women, children, etc. So give me a kind of a synopsis around what's happening right now, and some of the new things that are being either proposed in our own government, or that you're seeing come out of Turkey that we should know about.
Yeah, so actually, when it comes to Turkey, I know it's a global problem, human rights issues, freedom, justice. I'm sure that most of the audience will feel familiar with what I will say. When it comes to Turkey, human rights have never been enjoyed truly in Turkey. I believe, and it's a common sense, that power holders claim power through different means, such as traditions, religion, ideologies, economic dynamics. And when those in power consolidate more power, it becomes a necessity for them to keep it that way. So even a tiny bit risk or threat should be eliminated, in their minds. When we come back to our case, Turkey case, the corruption investigation in 2013-14, I am, having, a bit confusion about the dates. I'm terrible with the dates, but just before the coup, maybe 2-3 years ago, a corruption investigation happened against the people in power in the government. So this corruption investigation triggered such a threat for the regime in Turkey, and all the opposition, not only political actors, but also the voices of all dissidents, regardless of their affiliations, they are targeted to be silenced. They have been targeted to be silenced, and dismissals happened. More than 130,000 people have been dismissed.
130,000.
Yeah, it's a huge number. And when you consider their families, their kins, it's a huge number. Maybe more than 1 million, 2 million people have been victimized in this huge purge. And also, besides this, arbitrary detentions, confiscations of business, closures of institutions, including educational institutions, healthcare services, universities, or charity organizations took place in Turkey, still going on. And when these are happening, violence and discrimination against women or dissidents from different ethnic or religious backgrounds, or tortures in custody and detentions, these are all among the brutal acts conducted by the Erdogan government. And then all of this happening, the regime needed an enemy to cover their corruption or the brutal acts or the human rights violations. So they labeled those who criticize the regime publicly. They are arresting them. I mean, dissidents among all the sects in Turkey, Hizmet affiliation people, affiliated people, Kurdish people, Alawi people, Armenian people, they are all victimized and stigmatized in Turkey. So this is the case in a nutshell.
Yeah, very good.
And these are, all these human rights violations started to accelerate after the coup attempt because there were emergency decrees. So the government found somehow a way to justify their human rights violations and injustices.
Yeah, yeah. So with that still happening, we still know that that's happening. We still know that, I've learned a lot from you. People are still hiding. People are still fearful for their families. And, even on this, on our channel here, it's difficult sometimes to get people to really open up. And the reason is because their families are still there and they know that that puts their families in danger, kind of thing. One of the things, that happened not that long ago is some kidnappings. And, I don't think a lot is talked about that except for when it happens, right? And so tell me, what do you know right now, if you do, anything about all the pressure that was put on when the last kidnapping, or at least the one that I know about that happened in Reyhan and Nande, the school administrator, what has anything happened since then to put pressure on the Turkish government? Are you familiar with anything human rights wise that's been done by the EU or that's been done by the UN on that kind of stuff?
I think it's a complicated issue. The government, the Turkish government, tracks their dissidents, not only in Turkey, but also abroad. Across borders. One of the reasons, I think, this is my personal opinion, but I read a lot of, articles or news about this. Turkish government abuses the Interpol. They are reaching out to their dissidents through the Interpol. I know that hundreds of applications have been made to Interpol by the Turkish government to track down or to cancel the passports of dissidents who are living abroad. So this is one reason. This is one step to track down the dissidents abroad. And also there is, international global renditions. More than 100 people, if I'm not mistaken, it's more than 130. We have a report, a recent report, but I can't remember.
I read your report. You're right.
Yeah. People in Malaysia, people in Kosovo, people in Kyrgyzstan, all different parts of the world, they are being kidnapped, abducted, and deported to Turkey. And it can happen only by the help of the people, inside the government or inside different, institutions in the government, host countries, governments in different parts of the world. So, of course, including our organization, lots of human rights organizations are applying to, a European Court of Human Rights or United Nations, different entities in their bodies. But it's going very slow. There are lots of components when it comes to human rights, political issues, diplomacy. So it's going slow. The Osman Kavala case, the European, he's been behind bars, more than 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. But the European Court of Human Rights just, decided to start a sanction or an ongoing process against Turkey. You know what I mean, because there are lots of other, military relationships, economic relationships between Turkey and other countries. And also one of the biggest cards that Erdogan is holding in his hands is the refugee issue, Syrian refugees. Right. Yes. He's explicitly saying that if you, annoy me, I will open the borders and you'll get 2 million Syrians. So it's a very important issue for the European countries.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand that either. I think that, I'm teaching a human rights course right now, right? And a lot of these college students that are obviously a lot younger, they wonder, you know, in the papers and things that they write, and I had them look at your organization too, at Set Them Free. Why can't they just change us? You know, why can't we put more pressure on? And that's exactly right. There's all these different components that come into play. And, you know, then there's people like yourself that are outspoken, and that you're willing to be a voice for those that cannot use theirs. And
but you know what, of course,
amazing.
it doesn't mean that we'll you know,
Right.
stop speaking up or taking action. These
Mhm.
countries who help these renditions, of course, will be, you know, held accountable sooner or later in different
Right.
platforms, again, including our organization. Other human rights organizations are going on, you know, applying to different, you know, international justice organizations or human rights organizations, which Turkey is also a state party of which.
Mhm.
So, or these countries, they are going to be held accountable. So we cannot stop, because, you know, there are people who are helping. There are, you know, specific individuals. We have to declare their names. We have to open trials against them in the international courts, or, you know, in different countries courts. There are ways, there are options. We have to follow them, and we are doing that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's great work. Great work that you guys are doing. Is there anything that's happened, you know, like very recently? I know that this is not really in Turkey, but there were a group of Turkish refugees that had just left and had gotten to the Greek border. And we worked on, you know, some communication with that. And it's my understanding is that the pressure that was put on social media in regards to their, I believe, 14 people, including women and children, that were, you know, on the verge of freezing. I mean, very similar to what we have going on in Belarus. And that the pressure that was put by throwing that information out onto social media was really what caused the Greek government to then to go get them and to start the asylum process for them. So
I'm so sorry, since there are different components in this, you know, paradigm, so you know, related to these components, there should be different ways to deal with that. So naming and shaming is a very important process. So social media plays a huge role in that term. You know, of course, dictatorships don't, you know, care about what other people are saying. But when it comes to sanctions or, you know, trade issues, economic issues, after this naming and shaming processes, it can change, or other ways that can be, you know, exhausted in that term.
Right, right. Yeah, I wonder, I guess, you know, because the lira or it dropped, right? In Turkey. It was economic wise, things have not been going steady or up. They've been headed down. So more pressure on that end of things, I think, could, you know, be something that could be done right now. But I know there's also a bill that's out there. Liz Cheney, there's a Republican and a Democrat. I should have had it in front of me. I don't have it in front of me right now. But they've got something on the table that's like putting pressure on for human rights in regards to Turkey.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I can't remember the exact name of the, you know, the Congress people.
Yeah,
but
I can't either.
I know that's going on.
Yeah. So things like that, you know, are starting to move. But you know, with you, I just think it's such an incredible story, because here you were a teacher, you know, you've always been a teacher, and you're still teaching now. Right? You were a teacher and you were working with this young group of people, and you came here because you wanted to show them culture and you wanted to show them language and different things like that. And you never went home. And oftentimes I think about that, you know, what would happen if I completely left and I left everything here and I couldn't go back? And I can't tell you how many people I have talked to that's what's happened. You know, they all left and they had food in the refrigerator. They had all kinds of things. And, you know, that kind of a picture, I think is important for people to understand. When human rights are violated, it's not just torture. It's not just, you know, being persecuted in other ways, but it's also that kind of human rights issue, which is purging, right?
Mhm.
And look where you've come. I mean, you did that, and you got a very successful kids and husband, and you've really done well for yourself. And the biggest thing is that you're still teaching people. You are still a voice for those that can't use theirs, but you're also a voice to spread the awareness
Mhm.
of what's happening for women and children and
Mhm.
others in Turkey. So I'm just so proud of what you do.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
proud.
I'm so
Yeah.
happy. The biggest thing that I feel grateful is, being with students, is being a teacher again, because
Yeah.
teaching, you teach too, so you can understand me. Teaching is not kind of just a profession, it's the life itself. I always say that.
Yeah.
It's a part of your life, it's a part of your body, your mind, your heart, everything. So
Yeah.
I love being with students.
That's so great. So what do you plan to do after you get this PhD, which is coming up, isn't it?
Uh-oh.
Are you working on your dissertation?
Oh my God. Yeah. Fingers crossed. I'm about to finish my courses and I am about to start dissertation. But you know what? If you start something, compassionately, then this is maybe it's kind of a religious or spiritual belief, or the universe has to kind of think. But when you start, something eagerly, the ways are opening for you, the doors are opening for you. I have, wonderful, amazing advisors in the department, and we are working together. They are very friendly, very welcoming. So I feel belonging there. This belonging feeling, this issue is very important. So, especially if you are an asylum seeker, immigrant. So I feel wonderful there. And we are doing amazing work all together, including Turkey's people in my research and activism work. So I'm very happy to be there. And I am planning to, after the dissertation, of course, to again go on with academia, but I'm also compassionate about doing something in the United Nations or, in international rights organizations. And let dreams lead you. This is my motto.
Yes, that's right. And you know what? I actually have right above my desk here, I have something that you might know where this saying comes from. It says, what you seek is seeking you.
That's it. Absolutely.
Right? What you seek is seeking you. So
amazing. I love
you
that.
do what you love, it doesn't feel like you're working at all. That's what I have always said.
And also I feel that, my experiences is not that hard as, hundreds of thousands of people are experiencing. I didn't, pass across the Evros River. I flew here, in the legal way. So today, this morning, I just saw the news on the social media. 2 judges were drowned again in Aegean Sea while trying to, escape Turkey. Judges. In Turkey, in Turkey, you have just 2 options. There are lots of options, but in my view, it's like that. You gotta stay in Turkey and accept life, to be stigmatized, to not be able to find a job because you're stigmatized, or to not to be able to access health services, lots of stuff. Or this is a kind of a social death, civil death, or escape Turkey through really dangerous ways, to be, a refugee. This is really hard. So I haven't experienced that. So what I do right now, I don't feel that it's a great success, because, there were the opportunities and I used them. I don't know if I could express my feelings and ideas in an explicit way, but, I feel that what these people do is the bravery.
Well, I think there's two different ways to kind of look at that, because other people would look at you and say, you know what, I could never do what she does. I could never do it. You're outspoken, you put yourself out there, the Turkish government knows who you are, and you're not afraid at all to go, to go after that. But you are right too, that for so many people and people that that the choice is that I stay here and I continue to get persecuted for I don't know how long, and I take the risk of not being able to go to the doctor, of not being able to stay in a house for a long period of time, of not being able to own a car or different things, like to have a job, or I've got to, go across the Everest River, or I have to go across the Aegean Sea to try to get to, a place that I can become a refugee and start over with absolutely nothing. And those are both very fearful choices,
I believe that fear nurtures dictators, their power. Again, this is my personal view, and I respect all kinds of views. But in my view, we have to escape that fear feeling, because it nurtures them. We have to be, I don't know, we have to be outspoken. We have to speak out, not just for ourselves, but for all others. It's not only Turkey that kind of violations are happening. You look at Syria, look at, Rohingya, look at different kinds of places, in South Africa. There are lots of people who are trying to escape and come to United States for better lives. So, and when you look at them, being silent won't help anybody, won't protect anybody. Sooner or later, all the people, either, silent or outspoken, somehow face this, dilemma. So I believe that if we speak out, if we take action, it will, help somehow.
Yeah. I always say, there's a Dari proverb that I know, and I think there's something in Turkish I've been told that's very similar, but it's really something that I kind of live by. It's drop by drop a river is made.
Yeah.
So, and I think, is it with a bird's nest or something, or is that Haitian? I can't remember. French. I can't.
In Turkish,
there's something similar almost in every language, but when you make a drop and you encourage other people to do the same thing, like, don't be fearful and stand up and speak out and, do those kinds of things. The more people then that come together to do that, the more change that, can flow or be made.
And for Turkey, I'm sure it's valid in different contexts too, but for Turkey, I think one of the biggest issues is polarization. People cannot unite, even, against the dictator, against the, I don't know, tyrant. But when you become polarized, when you cannot unite, you lose power. So this is the biggest thing. I feel sorry. I feel worried. Yeah. Solidarity, I mean, it's very important. Even if you are not defending their views, ideological views, or religious views, even you are against that kind of views, it doesn't matter. Regardless of the identities or beliefs or opinions, coming together just against the injustices, it's powerful. Just do that. But in Turkey, it's not happening. This is really.
What do you think would change that? What do you think could help change people's minds that are so negative, and they've been so indoctrinated, basically?
It's not going to come, from the top, from the regime. It's not going to happen, because regime loves polarization, and it's not going to happen in masses. But I believe that even individuals, even in small groups, can come together, or sit over a table together and change ideas and listen to each other. And we are trying to do that right now, and it works.
Have dialogue, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I've learned that from you too. So I've learned lots of things from you, which is great, because you're my hero.
Same here, Vonya. I love, working with you, or, exchanging ideas with you, and your bravery, your contribution to this cause is you cannot imagine how it means.
Yeah, well, good. You're good. All right. Well, listen, I know that you have a very busy schedule, so I'm going to go ahead and let you go. And so I want to thank you very much, Hafza Girdap.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Are an amazing woman, and you're on a bright path. I can't wait to see what happens and where you go. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.